So, Barbie just made over $1 billion at the box office last week, and I thought, what better way to cash in than to talk about everyone's favorite literally me guy, Ken. Today, I want to answer the question on everyone's mind, who is Ken? In this video, I'm going to be breaking down his character, his story, and his arc, and painting the picture of what it means to be a Ken. You see, Ken is a complicated guy, and these are the type of questions that would keep a grown man up at night in cold sweats. Even in the context of the movie, it seems like not even Ken really knows who Ken is. But don't worry, buddy, I'm a nerd who likes movies, so I thought I'd help you out because I know who you are, and I was paying very close attention. So how about I start at the beginning? In the film, Barbie Land starts out as the epitome of a matriarchal utopia. It's all glitters, rainbow, and girls' nights. Every Barbie in the movie has as close to a perfect existence as you can, but the Kens lead very different lives. While they aren't oppressed and they aren't constantly threatened, they feel invisible. They are truly the supporting cast. And more than that, they are literal accessories. No one feels this more strongly than our Ken, who holds the esteemed title of Beach. This entire plot thread seems to stem from the real-life relationship Ken dolls have to the Barbie brand. Almost everyone has heard of Barbie, and many have heard of Ken, but if you ask someone to name a random Ken, until this movie, someone like this or this would have probably popped into your mind. And since Barbie is a product targeting young women and little girls, Barbie has always been the star of the show, while Ken was the side piece. In the film, our Barbie, the main character, is played by Margot Robbie, and she is the stereotypical Barbie, an unrealistic representation of what an ideal woman is, a figure to look up to, quote unquote. But in the film, she slowly begins to lose her perfection without really knowing why. Ken, meanwhile, is just a guy who hangs out on the beach all day and dances sometimes. His main defining character trait at the beginning of the movie is that he has feelings for Barbie, and she doesn't really reciprocate. So she goes to Weird Barbie and learns that she has to go to the real world in order to find out why she's losing her perfection. So to find out why she's losing that perfect image, she leaves, and Ken hides in the back of her car so he can tag along. Once they get to the real world, a bunch of hijinks ensue, and Barbie gets groped, punches a guy, goes to jail, rinse and repeat like 3 or 4 more times. And Ken is exposed to the patriarchy. He sees a world run by men and recognizes that he, unlike in Barbie Land, has the capacity to be more than just an accessory, more than a side character. And in the real world, like when people learn about systemic issues that they're facing, he decides that he wants to change things. So he goes back to Barbie Land and takes it by force due to his feeling ignored and rejected for so long. He introduces Barbie Land to a system that it wasn't prepared for, and all of the previously competent Barbies are now brainwashed and dumbed down into being objects for desire. Eventually, Barbie is able to undo the brainwashing and hatches a plot to get all the Kens fighting amongst themselves so they can vote themselves back into power. And this all culminates in one of the best musical numbers of the year. I can't wait to see it at the Oscars. I will be so mad if it's not. As they're fighting, the Barbies vote themselves back into power, and Barbie Land is restored to what it was. Ken is naturally upset at being relegated to a side role once again, and he storms up into what was the dream house, turned Ken's Mojo Dojo Casa house, and Barbie follows. She consoles Ken, and after continued attempts to get with her, Barbie tells him that he doesn't need her to be happy. She doesn't feel the same way. And Ken doesn't really understand this.
But it's Barbie and Ken.
But she continues to tell them that as a person with free will, she needs to be able to make her own choices, and he needs to realize he's enough on his own. You see, Ken doesn't need Barbie to be happy. Ken, in that moment, truly begins his journey into self-discovery, and in my opinion, he truly becomes Ken that day. You see, this movie is like the Ken origin story. Stay tuned for the Ken Solo movie, where he goes back to the real world and performs getaway heists for wanted criminals. But jokes aside, really, the lesson that Ken learns about discovering his true self isn't just one for Ken, but for you and I. Giving up who you are for someone else is not attractive, and no one owes you love. That's why people always say before you can love someone else, you must first love yourself, because if you don't love yourself, you don't really know what you want, and you won't respect yourself enough in a relationship to actually be there as a person. Neediness is never going to be healthy. And even though Ken didn't get the girl in the end, he discovered something much more important: self-worth. You see, if you've ever loved someone so much that you felt there was no way you could live without them, you're a Ken. At least you're the Ken before he discovered the power of self-love. And if you were to take anything away from this video, it would be this: Ken is a stand-in for all of us, many men and women in today's world, and his growth is one we should aspire to. He learned to make his own choices in life and became more than just a side piece. Someone there to look pretty, sing well, basically be perfect. And in the same way that Ken found himself, I hope anyone watching this video can take this lesson with them past the movie-going experience. Ken is truly a literally me character, and that was the point. And to close, I want to say this. To the ladies and gentlemen watching this video, take it from Ken. No matter the hardships you go through in life, with friends, relationships, and family, never forget that you are Kenuff.
My name's Kate, and so am I. Put that manly head in mine. So hey world, check me out. Yeah, I'm just Ken. Baby, I'm
Now, I just finished recording, and it totally just hit me. I just ranted for like 7 or 8 minutes over the Barbie movie. But you know what? I am not ashamed. It was actually really good, a lot better than I thought it would be. And if you like anything that I had to say here and you want me to keep making more, please leave a like, subscribe, and I will get a good catalog going hopefully within like the next 6 or 7 months. I'll keep pumping out videos, and we'll just see where this goes. But thank you. Have a good rest of your day, guys.